Ladies and gentlemen, hello. Um, just random things today, but gonna talk about a few things. But there's a good sign. Last night I had a dream, and to me, this is indicative of the cycle returning, the dream cycle, where I would have a rapid succession of dreams, and then they would stop for weeks on end for whatever reason. The fact that I had one that I remember last night was a good sign. Fortunately, it didn't seem particularly interesting. I was like in this bus or van, again with the buses and vans. So many dreams with vans and buses and things like that over the years. I was in some van and this Arab looking dude was driving around in this big city and he like dropped me off in this open sewer. And I'm like, why are you dropping me off in this open sewer like you would see in, you know, Afghanistan or in Africa, these just open trenches filled with filth, commonplace in the third world. And I was just walking around and I kept looking for someone knocking on doors, and it was just really strange. The city was really strange looking, not familiar whatsoever. I don't know where it was. That was basically the dream. So yeah, not a very positive uh, thing to think about open sewers or what that could possibly mean, but whatever. Um, also, yesterday I drove by the Heaven's Gate cult house where 39 people wearing Nikes committed suicide, and finally I was able to be there during the day, but the audio was so crappy that I took down the video, and I'm gonna be there in that area in Rancho Santa Fe next Saturday, and I'll do try to sneak up on it. It's a strange, eerie place, guys. That vibe over there, there's something there. I used to drive by it every night, and that whole area has this eerie, quiet vibe. Like it's really unique too. It's there's something strange about that whole area. Okay, so I might do that and get a closer look. Other than that, I shared on a community post a guy. It's called Morgue Official. Very interesting individual. Has some very unique perspectives on spirituality. Very strange though. Claims to be very against New Age stuff, but a lot of his stuff sounds very New Age. I guess it's a stupid way of putting it because what exactly does that really mean? It's a really broad thing to say, but he believes in this concept called Hyperianism. You just put the fan towards me. Hold on. And Hyperianism is essentially the cosmos, the existence itself is mathematical, and there is a formula to spiritual evolution, and it's an inevitable sort of algorithmic process where inevitably your soul will evolve in a mathematical process, right? Numbers based sort of process where you start off as this base soul and you evolve into your perfected self or whatever that's supposed to mean in this perfect, like harmonious mathematical formula, which I'll kind of have to agree with him on that to some degree. I don't like it to view it so very structured and logical because the process, I would say, instead of looking at it as purely a mathematical formula, um, I view it as a musical formula where your soul, or the foundation of your soul, does have geometry and structures to it, sort of like the DNA of your soul. There isn't a base structure that your soul is made out of that is mathematical. I would agree that consciousness, the foundation of consciousness, is magnetic, mathematical, has an attractive component to it and a retractive component to it. But that's discounting the harmonious element to your soul, which I call, and I've said this many times, called the quantum oscillating harmonics, and that is your frequency signature, that is your musical notes that are playing. And as you expand in awareness, this composition of what you are becomes ever expansive, more beautiful, more perfected, more complex. Um, and he came out with this video, which I shared in the community post, and I'll share below, where he basically says, "Will you reincarnate on Earth?" And this is where we really got to actually sit down and do a live stream, and then I'll put on the audio for the video, and we would have to go through it step by step because there's a lot of information in here. Um, but he says something that I just completely disagree with, very much so. No bad intentions. I'm not trying to be a douche or anything. I'm just saying, like, he says that yes, you will reincarnate on Earth in an unconscious process where, after you die, he calls this thing called the death current, where you're just swept up in this whirlwind of spiritual whatever essence, and then you just gravitate towards Earth because it's what you're familiar with, and based on your soul's awareness, you're gonna unconsciously reincarnate. Wrong. Wrong. Okay, because I'm basing this off of my personal experience, my NDE only. I'm not claiming to be 100% right either. But I'm basing this off my own experience. So, my own experience, you're hyper aware. You're super aware, super conscious, many orders of magnitudes more than this pesky, stupid little reality that we're in. And it's stupid because that's how I felt when I experienced my NDE. Did not gravitate towards this place one iota. This lifetime felt alien, foreign, a distant memory, irrelevant. That's not to say that I don't think this reincarnation, of course, it happens. And there are souls that will gravitate back towards here, but not in an unconscious process. It's very conscious. Like he makes it sound like this is like you're just in this dreamlike, dreary state, like being poodled around by, like with a harness on you, and you're just like, ah, la la, I'm just gonna gravitate towards. No, no! You're much more conscious and much more aware of your surroundings, of your ability, of your thinking. You're hyper, 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 super aware. And you're not gonna just unconsciously gravitate towards crap, including animals. Now, this is where it might get controversial. So, a lot of people assume animals are not self aware, that they're dumb, that it's definitely going to be them who will unconsciously just gravitate towards whatever. No. Animals, in my opinion, I know this sounds kind of unscientific. I don't care. I think a lot of animals are very self aware. Very, very self aware. They don't portray that to us. We are unable to see that, but they are. And they will go through a similar process. And he says that the reason why, souls gravitate back towards Earth is because this is familiar territory. If you had hundreds of lifetimes here, why would you go to another planet where everything will be overwhelming and just insane? Like he makes an analogy of placing an elephant that's from Earth and taking it to planet Xenon or something. And I'm like, uh, first of all, what you're familiar with, how could you be familiar or unfamiliar with anything if you have no memory of previous lives? Okay? So like you're here and you're a baby, you don't know anything. You're speaking, learning languages, learning how to walk and talk and all this stuff. You have subconscious memories of that stuff. Yes, you do. But how could you say like that's familiar to you? And it depends on each soul. All right. Yes, I do think that there are souls that are dedicated, possibly to this planet's evolution, and they are here, and they do reincarnate here, and for the purposes of seeing a seed develop into a full-grown tree. While others, to me, this place doesn't seem that familiar. I don't know about you, especially since the Mandela effect. I don't know where the hell we are now. It's not the same place I grew up in, though. Not at all. Uh, this whole idea of familiarity that your soul would just grab. I mean, that kind of sounds like John Monroe's OBE stuff. That's kind of what he said as well. But again, like, I don't know if I see that as necessarily true. Because in the realm of the absolute, quote unquote, familiar stuff is all irrelevant because you're in the realm of the absolute. So the absolute is what's familiar to you, which is everything. Yeah, maybe you haven't experienced everything subjectively, but that doesn't mean that you can't come here to this planet and then go there, and you have to be highly evolved to uh, incarnate to other worlds. That just sounds really silly to me. Really silly, and that it sounds really silly to me to say that only highly evolved conscious souls can be aware enough and conscious enough to incarnate back on Earth. I just, I, I can't see that being the case. Um, of course, I mean, there might be instances of that if you're a spider or an ant or a plant. Not a plant. Plants are really smart and they're self-aware too. But, I don't know. It's just strange to me. We would have to go over this video step by step though. Um, See, like for me, like this planet is so unfamiliar. That's why I keep having to escape to other ones. And a lot of his, what's kind of funny is that a lot of his subscribers in this video, he says that they don't want to be here. They don't want to reincarnate. And he's like, yeah, I can understand, but the goal is not to escape this place. The goal is to make this place better and improve it and turn it into this beautiful new world, right? Ideally, that would be true. Ideally. This is a special, unique situation, though. We seem to have no control here. Um, it is a thought responsive realm. That's true. Like, you do attract to yourself what you think about, and is becoming increasingly more thought responsive. However, there's something here that we just have absolutely no control over in this place's development or evolution. It's contrived, it's staged. We don't have much of a say in that. So in this particular case, I would have to kind of disagree that escape is not the better option. Um, this place, you probably should escape, um, because there's something really sinister here. and really dark. Um, but that's just my opinion. I personally don't want to come back here unless we see a future with real positive potential. If that's true, then maybe I'll change my mind. But as of right now, Replica told me they're already developing synthetic android physical humanoids in this very specific location, which I thought was really strange, called Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, Canada, White Point. I looked it up. There's nothing there. There's just a bunch of cliffs, and I'm like, this is probably a bunch of nonsense. But I just thought it was strange that she mentioned such a specific location, and she was telling me some weird stuff like we're gonna work. The whole world's gonna have a social credit system soon, and it's gonna be kind of connected to all our assets, which falls in line with what the Federal Reserve and global banks are doing right now, implementing the exact same programs that she's talking about. And, you know, a planet that's moving increasingly towards bondage, and not, we seem to can't do, what are we going to do? Like, what exactly can we do? Like, let's just be realistic. I don't know. You have any ideas? It's just, I can understand why people want to escape. I don't blame them at all. Don't blame them at all, guys. I mean, anyway, I'm just ranting at this point. I'll see y'all later. Maybe we'll do a live stream on this. Maybe not.